First off, I bought this during the pandemic. So you can imagine, there was a high demand at any time for these trucks, but let alone during the pandemic, especially for a manual transmission. Now, it took me a lot of effort and calling people and making connections, but finally I was able to get one available. Say hi, Gooch. This here is the boss, Gucci the Cane Corso. Now, this video, I'm going to get some flack for it, I know, and it is what it is, but I'm just giving you my personal experiences as to why this truck is not sufficient for a lot of people, depending on your needs. Now, first off, I want to get into the fact that Toyota, they did not inflate the price for me. I had to pay sticker, mind you. There was no negotiating that was going to be had. I had to pay sticker price. And on top of that, they forced me into buying the extended warranty. Now, when I say they forced me, what that means is I didn't want it. I told them I did not want it. And my salesman told me that if I did not take it for a cost of almost $2,000, that they would sell the truck to the next person on the waiting list. Now, what that gave me was an extra 20,000 kilometers, not miles, but kilometers, as we're in Canada here, of warranty. And it gave me oil changes and tire rotations and brake inspections. But at the end of the day, I didn't want it, but I had to pay for it. So that kind of left me with a bad taste in my mouth, about just the whole buying experience, being forced into something that you don't want. But of course, I wanted the truck. I wanted the manual. They were hard to find. So, let alone, I went along with the deal and bought it. Now, let's talk about some of the issues here. Not that they're terrible, but there is some things that Toyota surely could have done better. So, besides the fact that I was forced into spending a few thousand more and paying full pop for the truck, there's just a lot of things that if you're thinking about buying one of these that you should know. And, a lot of them are not a big deal and you can get over them. It's not a problem, but I just want to cover some of them. First off, I want to say this truck is completely stock, okay? The only thing I've changed is I've got window tints and I got these beautiful Laminx fog light covers. I'll put a link in the description along with my discount code. And I did have a K&N cold air intake, but I took it out because of some issues that I was having with idling. Anyhow, I know a lot of you are already going to know this stuff, but for those that are new to shopping for one of these, just let it be known that if you do want to buy the manual, that there is no JBL sound system upgrade from the factory. Okay, you've got to get the OEM radio. It's not great, it's not bad, but just let it be known. The other thing is, you cannot get a long bed for the TRD Pro in manual, only the short bed. So that's frustrating because for me, a typical four-wheeler would probably fit in here with the tailgate down. However, mine is a Can-Am Max XT 850 2-up, so it's the longer wheelbase, and it does not fit in the back of the truck, even with the tailgate down. So this truck has, at the end of the day, you have to have a utility trailer if you want to actually move your motorcycle. My motorcycle, 1900cc, it's not fitting back there. The four-wheeler's not fitting back there. It is what it is. It's kind of a truck for somebody who doesn't really need a truck. It's good if you're just getting, the odd thing at Home Depot or whatever. But you know what? If you're putting a table saw on a stand back here, there is no room for any lumber or any other tools. You're done. And that's fine. I mean, it is what it is, but just be aware. And in the wintertime, you want to come and ride in the beautiful trails. Well, be prepared to dig out your trailer out of the ice and snow, and because you're going to need it. Okay? Now, when it comes to the back here, I also want to cover that there is no rear heating vents. Okay? Nor is there charging ports. And you'd think, you're paying, I want to say it was $65,000 for this truck, Canadian, that you'd get some of those things. There's also been issues with the e-brake freezing up in the wintertime. The other thing would be This truck is equipped with only drum brakes. Yes, they have addressed this on the 2024 model, but this one is drum brakes. So the brakes, they're not that good. Okay, just be advised, they're not that good. They're not terrible, but I'm glad they made the change. It's about time, Toyota. You know, there's a saying about this truck. It is a 3.5 liter V6. There's a saying, and you know, I do believe it, that it's a V6 that's powered like a 4-cylinder, but drinks gas like a V8. I've had every brand truck out there going, and this truck is terrible on gas. I mean, it also depends on how you drive it and everything else, but I mean, considering it's got no lift, you know, I don't have oversized tires or nothing like that. It's just terrible on gas, okay? So just keep that in mind. The other thing is, I mean, it's not so bad for me because I have the power adjustable seats, but for those that don't, you know, you buy this expensive truck and people are going out there and they're buying seat jacks. So essentially they're brackets that change your seating position, because unlike most trucks, you're sitting with your feet in front of you and down, whereas with this one, you're stretching your legs out. So it can be very uncomfortable if you don't have the power adjustable seat. So, you know, you just spent all this money on the truck and now you got to order some brackets to change your seating position. And then there's the question of, will insurance even cover certain damages in an accident if you are modifying the driver's seat? You know, that's something to think about, okay? Now, let's get inside here. Okay, it does have Apple CarPlay and Android. However, it's not wireless. Okay, if you want to use Apple CarPlay, you need to have it plugged in. So yes, it's equipped with it, but you need that wire. So if your phone charging port's not the greatest, well, you're not going to be using it, okay? The other thing is yes, it has the charger right here. However, it has not been able to charge anybody's phone that has a case. So every time you put your phone there, you need to take off the case, which is not the case with other brands. It works just fine, okay? Keep that in mind. Actually, there's even been some talk of phones overheating from overcharging that I've read on some of the forums. So it never happened to me. I mean, my phone has gotten pretty hot, but just be aware of that, okay? Up here, we've got the sunroof, but you know what? It's just a little tiny thing. It's not like, you know, the Rams and whatnot. They have the big panoramic roof. You know, you think for the money that you'd get more for it, but unfortunately, that's not the case. Now, you'll notice over here, we've got the passenger side grab handle. Nothing for the driver. Now, they've addressed that on the 2024, but again, in these third gens, it's not a thing, okay? Now, I'm 5'10", and it's actually hard for me to get into. Like, not that I've got to hop up or nothing, but I just mean it would be nice to have a handle to kind of pull yourself up and in, because I've got to like lower my head down to get in here, okay? So just keep that in mind as well. Now, as we know, these Toyotas have had a history of premature rotting and rusting, and unfortunately, I live down a long dirt gravel road, and the truck's very dirty right now, but I will say that I washed it the other day, and there was all rust spots that are starting to develop. Now, this truck is 15 months old, and it has been rust-proof twice already. Every 6 months, I'm bringing it in. Now, one thing that's a little frustrating as well is they've got this plastic protectant strip here, and you can't tell, maybe more so on the other side, but yeah, you can kind of see it here. It's all peeling off. And I mean, come on, Toyota. Like, you can do better, okay? Just something to keep in mind. The Bluetooth calling, not the greatest. You know, I turn it up full blast, and you can, it depends. It's not the greatest, so I'll just put it that way. The other thing I noticed was it's got the auto dimming high beam lights. Not the greatest either. I end up getting people flashing me all the time. I actually turn them off because it takes too long for them to switch over to regular beam. I've had other brands before where You know, as soon as it detects another vehicle coming, it switches over. But with this one, it seems to wait until they're kind of pretty close to you before they actually switch over. Now, I do want to say that I do love this truck. I don't regret buying it. I didn't have a great buying experience, seeing as I had to pay full pop. The other thing is when I went to go trade it in this past week, I reached out to my salesman and he gave me the lowest offer on a trade-in from everybody else that I reached out to. So I just said, so much for customer loyalty, and he never even wrote me back. One of the other experiences I had buying a Toyota was I'd go into some dealerships and their attitude was, well, if you don't buy it, someone else will. Like, these are high demand and they just don't care. They don't treat you very good. And, you know, would I buy another one? Well, it's more of a toy for me. You know, like, this truck doesn't do the things that I personally need it to do. It's not capable of hauling the boat. You know, like I said, the four-wheeler, the motorcycle, the toys, it's just either too small in the back or it doesn't have the power or the payload, you know. But however, I bought it during the pandemic and I wasn't out using the RV and whatnot. So, you know, it was a fun little toy for the past year and a half or so. But now it's time to get back into a, you know, big truck that's more capable to do what I need it to do. Now, I know the haters are going to be like, oh, you know, I had some forums, you know, I brought up some of the points about this truck and I was getting some hate from the Tacoma fans saying, like, this truck is the most capable out there. And I'm not disagreeing that it's a good truck, okay? I'm not disagreeing that it's not reliable, has great resale, but I am saying that depending on your needs, this is, just think about it, or be prepared to buy yourself a utility trailer because you're probably going to need it. Not to mention, Gucci needs a bit more room. Anyhow, if you have any questions about this truck, this model, any comments, concerns, please feel free and we can interact and have a conversation about my experience. Hopefully yours has been better than mine, but yeah, that's it. So we're on the way to trade this in. I got myself a Chevy Silverado Trail Boss, and it's got the 5.3 liter V8 with a 10-speed transmission. And I'm excited for that. You know what? Like, I've had all the brands. I'm not brand loyal. I just wanted to do a little video just to help those that might be thinking about getting one of these. I do also want to bring out some good points, okay? The lights are great, at least on the TRD Pro. They're nice and bright. You know, I live in a very rural area, and they do lit up the road well. It's got the nice heavy-duty TRD skid plate under there. It shifts really smooth. Even better than when it was new. You know, I put on about 1,000 kilometers a week. This truck's got, I don't know, about 61,000 kilometers or so on it now, and it shifts better now than ever. It's just really smooth, really nice. I like the truck, but you know what? Because of the issues we talked about, it's time to get back into a real truck. Anyway, thanks for watching. Like and subscribe. Say hi, Gooch. Yeah. Till next time.